rocking like a baby in the car. I put the water in the ocean in the city that I'm from.
What's goody, guys? Welcome back to Wine Down with Books with your girl Kay. So as you can see by the title and from last video, I told you guys we would be reviewing No Reservations. But before we get into it, I'm going to tell you guys the next book review is Kennedy Ryan, This Could Be Us. And then after that, I have one more book. It's a love song for Ricky Wilde, and then I'm going to focus on the recommendations. I've honestly been just trying to read for fun and not read to review books because it was becoming a little unfun for me. But now we back. So I'm requesting the books that you guys recommend. I think it's only 4 people who recommended books for me to read, and I'm solely going to focus on those after the book review. All right, so you guys will have my undivided attention in terms of your recommendations. Anyways, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is enjoying their city's weather. New York right now has good weather, 61 degrees, so I'm trying to ride around in that. But anyways, let's jump right into it. As you know, if you keep seeing me look, I have my other phone, so I have my notes on here. I read this book a minute ago, so I want to make sure I get everything right. I don't think there's necessarily anything for me to spoil with this book. I read this book for book club, and this book has mixed reviews from my book club. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I'm gonna say I enjoyed this book. I'm learning to go into reading books without having expectations, solely because when you have expectations, it leads to disappointment. But I will say the one thing that I did not like that the author did is this. In the synopsis, she made it seem like the trip to Jamaica was going to be the end-all, be-all for the friend group, right? The Jamaica trip was like 2.5 seconds in the book. And it was just like, all of the readers, especially people in my book club, we was just disappointed. Like, why would you hype it up like the Jamaica trip is about to be A1 plus one, a corner, a catalyst for their friendship? And it was just like a blah, like it came and went. So that's the part I did not like, because I thought that the Jamaica trip could have done so much more for their friendship. But anyways, I'll just get into a little background about the book. So it's a group of friends. It was 4 female friends, right? We have Yvette, Joy, Diane, Rochelle. So in the beginning of the book, Yvette unfortunately passes away from cancer. I am gonna say, although Yvette died way off in the beginning of the book, she by far was my favorite character, because throughout the book, her voice was the voice of reasoning throughout each of the the group, the sisterhood, and within each friend's relationship and life. So Yvette was considered like the wise friend, like she knew basically everything. She was the glue that stuck the friendship and sisterhood together, right? And this really was a true definition of sisterhood. Sisterhood goes deeper than just having like a shared connection or females coming together. Sisterhood is an eternal bond. Is when you have friends that turn into family members that can sense your anguish, that's there to hold you down, that's really there to pick you up emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Like, sisterhood just goes so deep. And for a individual in this lifetime to find a sisterhood with either with one person or a group, that is a beautiful thing, right? And I can say, like, I'm blessed to have like just a glimpse of a sisterhood like that. I definitely have fire ass friends who I will, no matter what, know that they will hold me down, you know? And I hope you guys do too. So anyways, Yvette dies, and you know, with Yvette dying, it just leaves a piece of brokenness throughout the sisterhood. Within each female is experiencing their own thing. So Joy is married to Robert. They've been married for a minute. They have their own business. Joy is no longer content with just sitting back and being in business with Robert. She wants her own spa salon. Robert is distant. Joy continues to have to beg for Robert's attention. He's only focused on the business expanding, and he made a promise to Joy saying that, you know, when our business get picked up on the ground, you can start your own. Now that the business is doing fairly well after like 3 years, he's basically jumping shit, reverting on back of what he said in the past, and just wants Joy to go along with it. So Joy is not feeling that. Then we have Diane and Jeffrey. So Diane and Jeffrey, they've been together for a while as well. I think they were college sweethearts or something like that. Diane, unfortunately, is going through fertility issues where she can't have a baby. She went through like IVF. She did everything she can, but she was told she can't have children. You know, Jeffrey is basically focused on his career. He is basically disregarding or downplaying Diane's feelings. He refuses to communicate with her. She's also begging him like to spend time, and he feels like she's just nagging and she should just be okay with not having children. So within their relationship, you know, she's also a school a director at a children's school, early intervention, something like that. She does that. And, you know, she works with kids all day, so she's going through those emotions, those feelings, because she's coming to reality that she cannot have children, and this is one of her main goals in life, to be a mom. So her partner is not there to support her emotionally, spiritually, and you know, she's contemplating like, is this the end for our marriage? She really wants it to work. And then we have Rochelle. Rochelle is a single mother. She was married to a man, and unfortunately, the man was abusive, but Rochelle was able to get out of there with her child. She stopped all that. But you know, it's been years since she divorced her ex-husband. She doesn't allow her child to go around the ex-husband. And she is just scared of starting over. She's scared of putting herself out there. She is afraid to take risks. She lacks confidence. Especially she's dealing with confidence in terms of her weight as well. And she just doesn't believe that she is, deserving of love, especially from a man. Well, what's his name? Warren, especially from a man who is constantly, you know, seeking her to date her. He's been patient. He was there for her when you know, she was married and when she left the marriage. Warren is a friend of Yvette's, and Yvette's husband name was, I forgot Yvette's husband name, but Yvette's husband was throughout the book. So Warren is a friend of his, right? So the reason why I said I like this book, I did enjoy it, is because the friendships and the problems within the friendships felt so authentic. Like, it didn't feel like it's forced, it was unrealistic. It felt authentic, like a group of female friends that's coming together. They all live in their own lives, but yet they're all dealing with different things within their personal life, and then they come together and discuss it, and that's what sisterhood is about for the most part, right? Well, part of what sisterhood is about. And it's just like, when I was reading this book, I was reflecting on my friendships, and I'm just like, you know, I could have a number of friends who's going through the exact same thing, if not something similar. And, you know, the way that the situations and the conversations went, it just felt so real. Like, these are real life conversations, real life problems that people go through and people have been through, and which is why I enjoyed the conversations. Like, one person from book club was like, you know, Rochelle was annoying because, you know, she had somebody who loved, and she was hurt, but she had to put herself back out there. I'm like, you got to look at it like this. If you had a friend like Rochelle and she was going through the same thing, would you tell your friend that she's annoying? Same situation. And the person was like, no. I'm like, exactly. Like, this is why the book and the problems felt so authentic, because this can be your friend. You feel me? And the problems was real life, and none of the stuff was made up. You could be married to a man for years. You give a man your all, and he downplays it. He manipulates you. He forgets where you guys started, how the love began in a relationship, and then, you know, you're left to pick up the pieces of your broken heart. With Jeffrey and Diane, it was more so that Jeffrey felt inadequate. Jeffrey felt like the reason why, well, he was the reason, technically both of them was, but Jeffrey never communicated with Diane that he went to get tested in terms of his sperm count. I believe he went to the doctor, got tested, and was told that, you know, the likelihood of him being able to give his wife children was slim to none. he never communicated that with Diane because he felt inferior, he felt inadequate, he felt less than a man because the one thing that his wife wants he can't give. And I understand all those feelings, but this is also where, you know, he was unable to be vulnerable with his wife. He was unable to communicate with his wife, and instead he was disrespectful. He was nonchalant in situations. He was very stoic at times. He was dismissive, and he didn't show compassion when she was going through it and she had her appointment and was like, you know, the doctor gave her the final results. And he's like, you could have communicated with her. She would have understood, but instead you pushed her away. And a lot of men do that. You know, it's like, instead of speaking to your partner, you choose to push them away. And, you know, it's not uncommon for men to do that, especially when, you know, I guess I can't speak for a man. I'm not a man. You know, for a man not be able to provide for his family, to have a family, to support the family, to care for the family, or to wrestle with his emotions, and you have no outlet, or you don't know how to heal, you don't know how to process what you're feeling, yeah, it's going to stem over to your relationship. So eventually, Jeffrey ends up going to therapy, but again, that's realistic. That's what men go through, you know. Just from what I've heard, especially talking to my male friends, you know, all those emotions that they have to be the protector, the provider, the support, the main foundation of the relationship. And, you know, sometimes they don't have all the answers, and they don't know what to do, but because their wives or family members is looking at them to be the pillar of the household, the patriarch of the household, you know, they bottle up everything aside, and it reflects and it manifests in a negative manner, right? He could have just been, you know, very lucid with everything that he was going through, but instead he chose to communicate that in a negative manner, pushing his wife away, neglecting her, right? So I was like, okay. But I will say, you know, I understood that, but Jeffrey was definitely just being annoying, right? So throughout the book, the friends occasionally meet up. They have, you know, they go to brunch, they go to dinner, they go to each other's house, and they're there to console one another during the difficult times. At the same time, we see the direction of each relationship. Eventually, I'm just going to spoil it so this video's not too long. I'm going to say right now, I hated Robert's character to a T. Robert had the audacity. So Robert basically was the biggest asshole ever. At first, I gave him the 2024 Audacity Award for being a male. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you know that I do this male 2024 Audacity series, right? So with Robert, you know, he was cheating on Joy, which is why his behavior was just out of the norm. Like, it wasn't normal. You know, when men cheat, they start moving funny and doing stupid stuff, right? So Joy ends up finding out that Robert is cheating on her with the secretary. She finds out that Robert was trying to cut her out of a deal, interior design deal, trying to keep her in the picture, because he knew that Joy was very good at, you know, interior design, and he knew that the people that was going to be in business with him would only be in business with him if Joy was involved. So once Joy found that out, and then he basically was like, oh, to Joy, once she found that out and confronted him about cheating, because, you know, she would tell him, like, I love you, he wouldn't say it back, but yet she overheard Robert telling the secretary, and when she seen them kiss, oh, I love you, just give me some time, I'm gonna leave her with the will. So once Joy heard all that, she's just like, you know, he don't love me, and then Robert gonna come and say, oh, you willing to throw away years of marriage, why you want to end the marriage like that? Like, he had the audacity. He broke this woman down, made this woman feel like she was crazy, had this woman begging, doing everything in her power to make the relationship work, and you cheat, and you're gonna tell her why she ruined the marriage. That really pissed me off real bad. So Joy ends up getting divorced. Robert ends up not fighting, you know, the divorce agreements, because he already knew what was going to happen, because he got caught cheating. She ends up opening her business. She meets a new man, and she gets her happy ending, right? Diane and Jeffrey eventually have a conversation. But the conversation happens after there was a child, Tamiko, who was enrolled in Diane's school. Unfortunately, Tamiko's parents died in a car accident. Diane ends up taking her in temporarily as a because they had plot to be foster parents with the woo. Again, Jeffrey wasn't on board. He was moving funny when Tamiko came in the house, like mad, just like, you know, he would be put up a front, not talking really, like all that. And then eventually, you know, Diane ends up confronting Jeffrey. Jeffrey ends up telling her, like, I can't, you're the reason why I can't, I'm the reason why you can't have children. I feel inadequate, wooty woo. They end up falling in love with Tamiko. Jeffrey did too. Jeffrey, you know, started going to his little therapy sessions, coming to terms with the problems that he's facing eternally. They become a happy family. They adopt Tamiko. There was drama with all that too, but she ends up getting her child. Just wasn't her biological child, but she loved Tamiko. Tamiko was been enrolled in her school since she was a child, so they had a bond already, right? And Tamiko was happy. And Warren kept courting Rochelle. Rochelle decides to give Warren a chance. They end up falling in love. They end up getting married. Rochelle's daughter ends up liking Warren. They get together, and Rochelle was like, you know, I'm never gonna wait this long again to put myself out there for love. Like I waited 3 years, and the love of my life was right here. Warren was very patient, respectful. He even bought his daughter flower. He even bought Rochelle's daughter flower when he picked her up for dates. And it was a beautiful sight. I honestly thought Warren was too good to be true, but honestly, I think that's my own little problems I got going on when it comes to men. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I read books and I'll be like, these men feel too impossible, but there are men in this society like that. There are men who are genuine, who are respectful, who wants a family, who's not into playing games, who is going to court their woman, who's going to love their woman, who's going to support their woman. So, you know, although I thought he was too good to be true, I gotta chill with that, because there are men in this world just like Warren. Now, do I interact with them? Do I run into them? No. But there are men like that. It's just hard to find, especially in New York City. Yeah, forget it. But all in all, like I said, the Jamaica trip. So the reason how the Jamaica trip came up is, like, before Yvette died, they had made a promise that they was gonna go back to Jamaica. I guess they went to Jamaica when they were younger. They was gonna go back to Jamaica to you know, for a friends group. So Yvette ends up paying for the Jamaica trip for the girls, so the girls didn't have no reason to not go. So they go to Jamaica. It was the final goodbye to Yvette, you know, saying their goodbye to their friend. You know, again, Yvette was the glue of the friendship. And, you know, Yvette wrote them all letters like, I knew, Joy, I hope you leave Robert. Diane, Jeffrey's gonna come around. Rochelle, Warren is there. You're gonna find love. Like, she just knew. And they read the letters, and she gave them like little friendship bracelets. She's like, basically, you know, you guys, you gotta let me go. Basically, you gotta let me go, but in a respectful way. But I'll always be in your hearts. Basically, you have the wisdom of our friendship. We will see each other again. And Yvette had kids, so Rochelle, Diane, Joy would look out for her kids as well. And it was a beautiful scene, but again, it was like that part. Again, Jamaica was like 2.5. They got massages, they was drinking, there was someone that was sad with the woo. But other than that, it was just like nothing special really happened, except for the moment on the beach where they was honoring Yvette and their friendship, and their sisterhood. And that was it. The book ended, everybody getting basically their happy ever ending. And yeah, that's how it ended. Now, what I will say, you know, I don't believe like every situation has a happy ending, but I'm glad it did work out. Probably was kind of predictable in a sense, in terms of like Rochelle getting with Warren, Joy divorcing Robert. I think the only unpredictable sense was Diane and Jeffrey's marriage, because I did think that Diane was going to leave Jeffrey, because it was seeming like Jeffrey just wasn't getting it together. But other than that, I really did enjoy this read. You just got to go into things with an open mind. Some things may seem like timid, predictable, yeah, but when you just appreciate the essence and the sisterhood and the relationships of the characters, and like I felt Yvette's character, then you could appreciate this book. Some people may not like it. It'll be up to you if you want to read this book or not. But again, I enjoyed the reading and feeling the true sisterhood. It just felt really, really authentic. It was a little drawn out. It was a little drawn out at times, and like, all right, like, come on now. It's like when your friend keep telling you the same problems over and over, and you just not listening. It's like, all right, bro, like, okay, we don't talk about multiple times. Where is the solution? So it does have that feel to it too. But once you get past all that and just read the book and then try to appreciate the value of what the author and the message the author is trying to portray and get out to readers, how I think the book is okay. The lowest, I think, like 3.3 stars, 3.5 stars. Again, the reason why I gave it a 4 is honestly because I felt the authenticity of the character, so that's what made it a 4 for me. If I didn't feel that, then I would have just gave it like a 3. Matter of fact, I should drop it to a 3.5 just off the strength that the author just dragged it with the whole Jamaica trip and making it seem like the book is surrounded by the Jamaica trip. Matter of fact, that's what we're going to do. 3.5. 3.5. That's where my rating is at. But anyways, you guys know what the next book review is. Thank you for being patient. And drop in the comments. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram. Your girl is out.